In the shadowed valleys and mist-shrouded hills of ancient Ireland, where the earth itself seemed to pulse with hidden power, legend spoke of a goddess who commanded both terror and reverence. Her name was the Morrígan, the Great Queen, the Phantom Queen, the one whose very presence could turn the tide of battle or seal a hero's doom. She was not a deity of distant heavens or gentle hearths. She was the raw force of fate incarnate, soaring on raven wings over blood-soaked fields, her cries echoing like thunder across the plains. To the warriors of old, she was both omen and enforcer, foretelling victory for the worthy, proclaiming defeat for those who strayed from the path of sovereignty, and reminding all that destiny is not a gift freely given, it is a balance that must be earned. The Morrígan belongs to the Tuatha De Danann, the divine race of Ireland's gods and heroes who shaped the island's mythic history. Her origins lie deep in the mythological cycle, particularly in the grand saga known as K.A.H. Marje-2ired, the Second Battle of Mag Twyd. This epic war pitted the Tuatha De Danann against the oppressive Fohmnes, monstrous invaders, who sought to dominate the land. As the armies gathered, the Morrígan played a pivotal role, not merely as a spectator but as a catalyst of cosmic renewal. On the eve of the battle, along the banks of the river Ones, she encountered the Deichjida, the good god, master of abundance, wielder of a massive club that could slay or heal, and keeper of a cauldron that never ran dry. The Deichjida found her standing astride the ford, one foot planted firmly on each bank, her form commanding the very flow of the water. Their meeting was charged with purpose. She spoke prophesies of the coming conflict, revealing visions of slaughter and triumph. Then, in a moment of profound alliance, they united, not in fleeting passion, but in a sacred, powerful act that bound sovereignty to fertility, war to the earth's enduring strength. The place became known as the bed of the couple, a site forever marked by their union. From this encounter flowed vital energies, the land's fertility renewed, the warriors' resolve strengthened, and the prophecy that the Tuatha De Danann would prevail. The Morrígan demonstrated her essential truth. True kingship and victory depend on harmony with the land she embodied. She was sovereignty personified, the guardian who blessed the rightful ruler and withdrew her favor from the unworthy. After the battle's hard-won victory, as the field lay strewn with the fallen, the Morrígan climbed a high hill and proclaimed the triumph in a chant that shook the air. Her voice carried across the landscape, announcing peace after strife, fertility after bloodshed. In this role, she bridged destruction and regeneration, reminding the people that war's chaos serves a greater order. Yet her most vivid and enduring tales unfold in the Ulster cycle, particularly the monumental epic Twn Bo Ceolnaya, the cattle raid of Cooley, one of Ireland's greatest heroic sagas. This story centers on Queen Mhv of Connacht, a formidable ruler driven by pride and ambition. To match her husband Ailill's wealth, she sought the legendary brown bull of Cooley, a magnificent beast belonging to Ulster. When diplomacy failed, she raised an army from 4 provinces of Ireland and marched north. Ulster's warriors were struck by an ancient curse, the pangs of the Mocha, leaving them debilitated with labor-like pains. Only one defender remained, Ceol Hullin, the Hound of Culan. Born Setanta, he earned his name after slaying the ferocious hound of the smith Culan and offering to take its place. Raised in the court of King Suanava, trained by the warrior woman Skah Hark in Scotland, Ceol Hullin possessed superhuman strength, speed, and skill. In his Ariastrad, his battle frenzy, his body transformed, muscles swelled, hair stood like iron spikes, one eye bulged grotesquely while the other narrowed, and he became an unstoppable force of destruction. For months, Ceol Hullin single-handedly held the invaders at bay. He challenged champions to single combat at fords and river crossings, defeating one after another in feats of spear-throwing, swordplay, and raw power. His name became a terror to Mhv's forces. Songs of his deeds spread like wildfire. But the Morrígan watched from the skies. She first approached him in the guise of a beautiful young woman, riding in a splendid chariot. Radiant and commanding, she offered her aid, protection in battle, prophetic insight, and perhaps her own favor and alliance. She implied that accepting her would ensure his survival and glory. Ceol Hullin, however, filled with youthful pride and a fierce sense of independence, rejected her. He declared he would rely on his own strength and the honor of Ulster alone. He turned away from the gift she extended. The Morrígan did not respond with immediate wrath. She is no capricious deity driven by petty emotion. Instead, she withdrew her blessing, and the subtle protections of fate began to erode. In a prelude episode called the Twn Bo Reggae VNA, she tested him openly. Appearing as a red-mouthed woman driving a single cow, she provoked him into anger. He hurled his spear, wounding her in the side. The conflicts escalated during the main raid. As Cuchulainn fought in the fords, she shape-shifted to hinder him. First, as a fierce black heifer at the head of a stampeding herd, she charged toward him. He cast his spear and pierced her flank. Then, as a sleek black eel, she slithered into the river and coiled tightly around his legs, threatening to drag him under. He struck downward, crushing her ribs. Finally, as a snarling grey-red wolf, she drove panicked cattle into a chaotic rush. He responded with a sling stone that blinded her in one eye. Each encounter pushed him closer to exhaustion. Each wound a symbol of the growing cost of his rejection. The Morrígan's forms were not random. They embodied the chaos of battle, the herd's fury, the river's treachery, the wild beast's savagery, mirroring the very forces he fought against. Later, she appeared to him as a frail old woman by the roadside, bandaged and weakened from those injuries. She asked for healing, a simple gesture of mercy. Though battle-weary, Cuchulainn granted it. He mended her wounds, restoring her to full strength without realizing he had aided the very goddess who had challenged him so fiercely. In this act lay a profound lesson. Respect and compassion toward the greater powers of fate are essential, even for the mightiest hero. The most chilling omen came as Cuchulainn rode toward his final stand. Passing a misty ford, he saw a solemn woman kneeling in the water, washing armor and garments. The cloth twisted in her hands, blood swirling into the current like threads of crimson fate. He looked closer and felt a chill. The harness, the cloak, the tunic, they were unmistakably his own, already stained as if the battle's end had been written in advance. This was the washer at the ford, one of the Morrígan's most haunting manifestations. Warriors knew the sign well. If you recognized your own blooded clothes in her wash, your death was near. No dramatic curse, no shouted prophecy, just the quiet certainty of destiny fulfilled. Cuchulainn understood. Yet bound by duty, honor, and unbreakable will, he continued onward. The climax unfolded in tragedy and defiance. Surrounded by overwhelming numbers, mortally wounded, Cuchulainn refused to fall kneeling. He tied himself to a tall standing stone with his belt, sword in hand, facing his enemies upright even as life drained away. Spears rained upon him. He parried until his final breath. His foes circled warily, fearing to approach while any spark remained. Only then did a single hooded crow descend from the clouded sky. It settled upon his shoulder, folding its dark wings like a mantle of closure. A profound silence fell. The warriors hesitated, struck with awe and dread at the sight. Not until the crow lifted away, uttering a single croak into the wind, did they advance. The Hound of Cuchulainn was no more. The Morrígan had not wielded the fatal blow. She had not cursed him in malice. She had tested, withdrawn, and finally borne witness, confirming the verdict written by his choices and the inexorable laws of fate. Across the myths, the Morrígan reveals herself in myriad forms. She is the scald crow or hooded raven circling battlefields, feasting on the fallen yet carrying omens to the living. She is the radiant young woman offering prophecy and alliance. She is the ancient crone demanding acknowledgement and aid. She is the river spirit flowing through fords where destinies turn. Often she appears as a triad: Bive, the battle crow, who incites frenzy and panic; Mocha, associated with sovereignty, horses, and the plains where battles rage; Enevian, the frenzy or venomous one, who brings madness and terror to the enemy ranks. These aspects are sometimes distinct sisters, sometimes facets of one being, embodying war's many faces: the cry before the clash, the sovereignty at stake, the chaos during, and the aftermath. Her ravens are potent symbols, birds that bridge worlds, crossing from sky to earth, life to death, prophecy to memory. They feast on carrion yet serve as messengers, reminding mortals that glory is fleeting, death inevitable, and true power lies in alignment with the land's will. The Morrígan is protector as much as harbinger. She inspires bravery in the just cause, proclaims victory when earned, and ensures the balance of cosmic order. Kings rule only with her blessing. Warriors triumph only if fate allows. Reject sovereignty, ignore the greater harmony. She withdraws, and the scales tip. In the quiet after battle, when crows circle overhead and rivers run clear, her presence lingers. She does not delight in destruction for its own sake. She arrives to witness the truth of consequences, to weave the tale into enduring legend. This is the timeless power of the Morrígan, goddess of fierce war, unyielding sovereignty, prophetic vision, and the liminal thresholds where life meets its turning point. She calls across centuries to those who listen, to heroes facing trials, to seekers drawn to ancient wisdom, to anyone who senses the pull of destiny. So remember her name. Watch the fords where waters whisper secrets. Listen for the raven's cry on the wind. For when the Morrígan appears, fate itself is speaking, clear, unyielding, and profound. If this epic journey through Ireland's ancient myths has ignited your imagination, like the video, subscribe for more deep dives into Celtic legends, and share in the comments which aspect of the Morrígan, her shape-shifting, her prophecies, her role in sovereignty, resonates most with you. Until the next saga unfolds, keep your spirit aligned with the land, and your gaze lifted to the skies.